Hi, my name is Ben Monaco. I'm a junior at Cabot School, and today I'm talking to middle school humanities teacher and Caledonia United varsity soccer coach Peter Stratman about his experience playing and coaching soccer. My first question is, how and when did you get into playing soccer?
I've played soccer as long as I can remember. My brother, who's 5.5 years older, played soccer, and so anything that he did, I wanted to do, whether it was mischievous or an activity or whatever. And I can remember when I was probably, 3 or 4 years old, I can remember kicking the soccer ball with my dad in the front yard, and I played on rec teams as young as 5. And there wasn't actually at that time a lot of opportunities that I was aware of playing soccer. And I played on, when I got a little older, 6, 7 years old, I played on a team that would play in the fall. And it's actually the same team, same guys that I ended up graduating playing with. And so over time, I had just grown up playing with the same crew of people. And that really was formative for me as a player, because it's one of the things I love about playing is that sense of team. And it came back to early on, just getting to know people through soccer. And I was always a pretty athletic kid and had some success, but I didn't have, I wasn't in a club, and those opportunities weren't as readily available as they are today for players.
Yeah, you guys must have been pretty good then, since you played since you were pretty young.
Yeah, playing with the same people. I remember we, starting at 9 or 10 years old, our team would play up a division just because we beat everybody, and so they moved us up an age, and then the next year they moved us up two years. So I think we were 12-year-olds playing 14 or 15-year-olds just because our team was pretty good. And the quality today that I observe in Vermont, as a coach, the quality and knowledge of soccer is so much more than what was available when I was a kid, because even when I was a kid, soccer was rarely on TV. There weren't professional leagues that were accessible. They didn't show European soccer on TV, so it was a popular sport, I think, for you, in the youth level, but it still wasn't. You couldn't root for professional athletes like you could with baseball or football or basketball. And I grew up near Seattle, so we'd go to professional games for baseball or football or basketball, because at that time Seattle had a team, but we never got to see professional soccer. And so that does influence sort of how you perceive the game, I guess, as a kid.
Yeah. What do you enjoy most about soccer?
As a player or as a coach?
Both, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, as a player, I loved the feeling of sprinting and twisting and jumping, and it sounds stupid or simple, but there's something of what you're when you're at this kind of peak performance of whatever age you are. And not that I thought about it that way at that time, but just being active, being physical, partly was the tenacity of winning the ball or shooting a great goal or whatever. I love that side of it. I also love the art of it, I guess. There's something about movement on the pitch when you're playing with other people, and there's a flow to it that happens sometimes without thinking of it. Those are the best.
Yeah, just nice sequences.
Yeah, it just unfolds for you, and when you play with a team or other players so long, you kind of intuitively know where the other person's going to be. Right. And that happens in other sports too, but those are the things that I really loved about the game.
Satisfying.
Yeah, and it was physical, but also it was also you had to be intelligent. Good players were thinking about where to be 3 moves ahead of that play and what the options were. So that was really fun. As a coach, when I first started coaching in 2005, 2004 in Cabot, I coached middle school. I was terrible. I had played for so long, but it was the translation of how to coach. I was good at motivating kids. I was good at that part of it, but the technical and tactical side of the game, I had never thought about from that level, and it's partly because I never had coaching like that ever. I never had a coach who would unpack sort of tactics and formations and movements in that way. I had to learn that on my own, and it's partly because the coaches that I had they maybe were players, but they were more likely dads.
Right.
In that case, who were just volunteering, who were good people, who were helping out, stepping up, and and it was fun, but it was a part of the game that I didn't, that I wasn't aware of, that I learned on my own. And I love that aspect of coaching now. Is like I get a little bit of the boost of the sort of the flow and the play, because I get to kind of live through players who do that, and to instruct players, and to have players, after you've practiced something or tactically worked out something, to have players execute what you dreamed up or what you thought you knew they could do, and have them do that is like really satisfying and fulfilling. And then I love the aspect of like building a team of people who are all individually good at something. Maybe they didn't even realize they were good at something, but having the sum of that team be better than the individual players were together.
Right.
There's something magical about like you bring all these people together and then you put them in the right spots, and then it grows into something that is better than what it would have been before. And that's really exciting and fun, and I love to compete. So that's kept me involved in the sport.
Right. Yeah. So you coached for a long time, like.
Yeah.
Like, what's your favorite part about it, really? Like, I don't know, bringing people together and keeping them, like, making them better than they would be individually.
Yep. Both those things. And I love it when players, they are able to do something they didn't think they could do. Right. And I love seeing players develop over time. And it's really about, and I say this, you've heard me say it before, but it's about soccer and it's not about soccer. And I think part of it is like especially coaching high school boys who are inherently knuckleheads, a lot of the time, there is something about harnessing that energy of the moment and bringing the focus together to do something well. I like that. It's dynamic, and I like to believe that I have some kind of positive influence over the trajectory of the lives, of your lives. That at some point in the future you'll be sitting on your porch as a old person and be like, oh, I remember that guy, and that was really fun, and that was an important part of my life, or whatever. That's part of it. Is like I love the soccer aspect, but I love the idea of like being influential, in a positive way. Yeah. So that's something that motivates me.
Like, so you played college soccer as well.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like compared to like normal high school or regular?
It's a great question. I loved playing there was a small club that I played on, like I said, when I was like, started when I was maybe 8 or 9, and then I played all the way up through. And then I played high school as well, which I loved because it was mostly a lot of those same kids.
Right.
And the sense of like cohesion and team was all there, and so I really loved those experiences. And I was recruited, and I played at a small D3 school in Oregon, and I would say I didn't love it, in part because it was missing that camaraderie. It was missing that piece of like working with your teammates instead of against them. And I was nervous, I think, and I was apprehensive about my role in a way. Like I had always been good, always been confident, team captain of both teams. Like, and then when I went to school, everybody was good, and in a way that I was like not used to, if that makes sense. And so I had to kind of learn that like that's the point. Is like, and not that people on my other teams were all really good, but I kind of grew up with them, and so when you're suddenly like put into a new situation with everybody who you don't know, who's kind of competing for spots, and then some of the older players on the team, like there was just, they weren't always nicest to each other, and so you were afraid a little bit of making mistakes at that time, and so that did influence me as a player, and sort of like the thing that I loved the most about playing, that diminished. I loved the level of the play, but that part wasn't the same.